Welcome to Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi, a podcast that showcases people you may not know who are choosing to use their gifts to inspire and move the planet.
Thank you so much for joining us for Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi. I have my guest, Chelsea Meyers, here. She is going to blow your socks off. She's going to share a little bit about who she is and what she does. Chelsea, take it away.
Hi, I am Chelsea Meyers. I'm a mystic and an intuitive. I help people work through their shadows, connecting with their guides, and I walk with them through that journey of growth. I'm a healer, but I truly believe that the big healing is done by empowering others to heal themselves. And so I love teaching people how to tap into their own Clair and intuitive gifts, how to work through their shadows themselves, and how to harness their own inner power so that they can heal from within and walk on that journey and then continue to uplift others on their way, because that's where that juicy, amazing goodness is helping others through our own journeys as well. So I do this with DNA activation is the healing modality I love to use. It's this incredible energy healing modality where it's kind of like 4 or 5 things wrapped into one. So you do work with auras, work with all of your chakras. We go into different healing processes and cutting ties, and then we remove all of this energetic blockages. So it's kind of like Reiki on steroids, and it is so incredible. And to see people as they emerge this like fully healed selves, it's just such a beautiful, powerful process. I recommend anyone and everyone to do it. It's beautiful to witness. And then I also read tarot and oracle cards. I've been reconnecting with my Romani lineage and learning more about what's literally in my DNA to also as a mystic with my lineage, and being able to do readings for others and tap into their energy is just this beautiful way of getting to know people on this much deeper level. So that's what I love to do.
That is so exciting. So what took you on that journey? What were you doing prior to that, and what made you decide to go into energy healing and DNA activation?
I was on my own healing journey. I've been through the ringer as a teenager and a young female, through my own kind of journeys of abuse and like mental health and all that PTSD fun shit that comes with it. And I realized that I was starting to identify as a victim and identify, it was like this, I couldn't separate myself from what had happened to me. And it was really starting to fuck with me. And that's when I started to get healthier, like mind, body, and spirit. It was this full journey. And so it originally brought me to Reiki and energy work. And I think Reiki and energy healing, it tends to find us. We don't find it. It just shows up at the perfect time in our journey, in our healing journey. And I loved receiving the energy work so much so that I wanted to learn how to do it myself. I'm a healer and a giver. So when I find something amazing, I want to learn to do it not only for myself, but to keep passing forward to others. So Reiki was my very first part of the process. And then through the healing and uncovering and reconnecting with my true essence and my true self and getting rid of all like the brainwashing from society, I was reconnecting with my mysticism, and I've always been very in tune with my Clair gifts. I've always been able to feel and sense spirit, but I put up a huge wall, and I didn't trust myself. I went through a journey of addiction with my husband, and so when I came into this codependent relationship and started to come out of it, not the relationship but the codependency, I realized I would almost tell myself these stories to not trust what I actually knew, and that was what was allowing him to go further into his addiction. So there was a lot of healing around that and a lot of shadow work around that to be able to trust my intuition again and separate it from my ego, because I had shut my intuition down so much I couldn't hear it. And so as I started to reconnect and just find myself and realize how powerful it is to find my voice, I wanted to empower more people and help more people, because I'm not the only one going through this bullshit, and it feels amazing to come out the other end, and it's empowering, but I felt really hopeless at a time and needed others to walk through that with me. I needed that community, and it's kind of my way of passing it forward, is creating another community and supporting others and walking others through it and making sure they realize they're not alone, they're not crazy, they're perfect, and we can get through this, and there's beauty and magic on the other side, and a lot of gifts that can come with the bullshit. We just have to be willing to do the work to get there, and I essentially just hold people's hands while they do that, because when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable at our weakest, it's actually when we're our strongest. Yes. And so I'm just kind of there to help people realize how strong they really are.
That is so powerful.
I don't even know what I said. I feel like I'm like being like I'm like divinely guided right now.
Absolutely, you are. I set those intentions.
Me too.
Yeah, so the thing is it sounds like as you were going through your journey, then you recognized and realized that other people could use the same type of support that you needed.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, because I talk to so many people that are doing the same thing, and it's like, to me, it's the most powerful thing as you go through. And the thing is you probably are like me, you don't have a shock factor.
Yeah.
Nothing anybody says, you don't give them a side eye, you don't look at them funny, you're non-judgmental as you deal with the people. So what kind of I'm gonna say women, because do you typically work more with women?
Yeah, I do. I work with the odd male here and there, and I'm not opposed to it, but I do naturally attract more feminine, female energy, and I've set an intention to build more of a sisterhood and female relationships too. So I know that that's the energy I've been calling in, and I love it.
I was gonna say, so what kind of woman typically reaches out to you for help?
It's honestly a lot of people dealing with similar things I have, and even without knowing it. I don't talk a whole lot about the assaults that I've been through or the addiction journey. Not that I'm ashamed of it, it's just not at the center of my focus. But a lot of people who come to me are healing from trauma, or they're working through addiction or codependency, and essentially they're people who feel like they've lost themselves. As women, we tend to, society can fuck with us, especially the patriarchy. Yes. We tend to lose ourselves as we get older, because we're told what to do and we're trying to resist and we're trying to do our own thing, and it's really confusing. And then we get to this point where we're like, no, fuck that. But we only really know what we don't want. and we don't always know what we do want.
Yes.
And so it's working with that, and it's reconnecting with ourselves and figuring out what that is. One of the readings I do actually is, it's a combination of numerology, tarot, and astrology. Sorry. And I work through like what your soul's journey is and what your journey is this lifetime. And it helps to really dig deep and start that process of figuring out what lights you up. But really it's a lot of just working with my individual clients to peel through that and start that process, and start the process of pivoting and shifting and working through those shadows, the bullshit that our ego loves to feed us to hold us back, and helping people find their voice again. The throat chakra is a chakra I work with a lot. And it's interesting because all of my clients, as much as they come to me for help, I learn so much from them, and the energetic exchange and the healing and aha moments I get from working with others is incredible. Because we're always learning and healing ourselves as well. So it's really beautiful, this how the relationship can flow. And I kind of tell people I'm like a personal cheerleader, but you have to pay for me sometimes. But I love cheering people on, and I love yeah, I love cheering people on, and I become fairly close with a lot of my clients. We build amazing friendships, and because we're vulnerable with each other, and you can't help but connect and bond. And I love that. I love the trust that comes with that, and watching people blossom and grow. I have some clients I've been working with for 3 or 4 years. So to see that shift in each other is so fucking cool. So
yes.
It's so much fun. It's fun.
It's like a butterfly relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. So do you have group programs as well? Do you work with groups?
I just launched my first group program, and it's called Clair Connection. So it's a 5-week program where each week we dive deep into one of the 4 main Clair gifts. So we talk about how it shows up individually in each of us, because we're all unique snowflakes, as I love to say. And so it's all going to look a little different. And so it allows us to open up and talk about it and kind of figure that out. Work through the shadows that we've put up that block that kind of frequency, so to speak, as well as building trust, because trust is a huge thing. I still am more like, I think no matter who you are and how far you've come, trust is something we're always continuing to expand on with our gifts. Because they get stronger and stronger, and it's intense. So you have to build the trust along with it. So every week we're doing that together. There's meditations to connect deeper, and there's homework so you can practice connecting. And the last week we're actually going to use oracle cards and practice on each other and tapping into it and supporting each other. And it's not about readings and reading for others, but it's just about building up our confidence in that trust and having that safe space, because we'll have been together for over a month at that point, and it'll be easier to listen and to trust and to lean into that. And everything's recorded except for that last week, because I want it to be a sacred container. There's no need for that part to be recorded. But it's my first group program, but I'm looking so forward to it. I think having a community around building these gifts and finding a safe place to be vulnerable and ask questions is really important, and to feel less alone. Because I know for the longest time, I felt crazy when I would sense spirit or see spirit or and it's not even about spirit. It's your Clair gifts aren't always connecting with spirit. But for me, that's how it started. And when I realized I wasn't alone and there were other people going through it, felt a lot less crazy and a lot more secure in trusting it. And I can actually almost follow the steps, and I'll trace it back like through conversations with my husband, where you can kind of see the pieces fall into place, and it is so fucking cool. And so when you start to consciously connect, it's just so beautiful to watch it unfold.
That is powerful. So let's talk about the DNA activation.
Yes.
Talk about what that actually means, and what is it that you help the people to get through with that?
So with DNA activation, it is a healing modality that's been around for thousands and thousands of years. It works. This one in particular, the radical guide DNA activation, is connected with the heart chakra and the heart chakra of the earth. So what I do is, we all kind of do it a little differently, but with the same sort of outcomes. I work with 24 strands at a time. So with my clients, I energetically connect with them. We walk through a healing grid. I take a ton of notes. I tell you who your guides are there to support you, which archangels are showing up to help activate your DNA. I remove tags and do energy clearing. There's what's kind of like Reiki on steroids, where we align your chakras and do just, I use my hands a lot because I do a lot of feeling. So that's why, and I'm also Italian, so I talk with my hands a lot. But it's just this powerful, energetic shift. It's so hard to describe.
Yes.
And that's the hard part, is it's an experience. And it's something you legit have to experience. I am a question asker. I ask a ton of questions before committing. I'm more type A personality that way. And my ego loves to come up and ask questions too. But with DNA activation, I did not ask a single question. I just knew I needed it, and I trusted it, and I jumped in, and I didn't even understand what I was reading when I got the report, to be completely honest, but I felt a shift and I felt amazing, and that's what mattered. But what I see, what I visualize when I see someone's DNA getting activated, it's their like energetic body, and there's this swirl of light. Do you remember the end of Beauty and the Beast, when Beast is transforming? So it's kind of like that swirl of light with DNA, and I see them just transform from like this light being, and it's the most beautiful experience I've ever witnessed. And then it's like a shockwave of energy after, like they're just fully empowered and lit up. And it's like I love doing it. Like I say, it's my favorite modality just because of how powerful it is. And it does connect you much deeper with your clairs. I've always been connected with all four of mine, and everyone is connected with their clairs. No one is born special. Like we all have it. We just aren't always consciously connected to it. I was already connecting and working on that. And when I had my DNA activated the first time and then the second time, it was insane. It was like the lid just completely blew off. There was no holding it back at that point. I just needed to learn boundaries. But there was a lot of healing that came from it too. I went through a dark night of the soul, and it was powerful but necessary. Also through that came a lot of, I believe maybe a bit before that, I was starting to do my anti-racist work. And as that shift happened, I became more vocal and more strong and less willing to quietly do work in the background, and more willing to speak up for what was right, with a lot of fear of what others might think, and a lot more of, no, I want other people to know what I think and how I feel, and I don't care. When I started my own business, one of the things I was taught is to appeal to everyone. And with my DNA activation, I realized, no. I don't want to appeal to everyone. I want to appeal to very specific people, and I want people to feel safe. And I need to stand up for what's right, to the point where I've lost a lot of people, and I'm really happy to see them go. And the energetic shift with that has been amazing. And a lot of the egoic thoughts that come up with that work aren't really there. I'm a lot more willing to just kind of see and step back and listen and do the work that I have to do as a white woman. Yeah. There's a lot of work for me to do, and it's made it
right
a lot easier with a lot less ego and bullshit that does not serve.
yes
so it's
that is so awesome.
It's powerful
because so many times, you know, people want to put their head in the sand about that stuff, you know, and I had to speak to one of my girlfriends, and I said, you know, you got white privilege. You need to use it.
Yeah.
You know, I said, I don't. I said, but I'm just not going to allow anybody to treat me like anything. You know, I said, I'm just not. I don't give a fuck who you are. You know, I said, you got white privilege. I said, you can get up there and you can speak and say some things.
Yeah.
I said that, you know, they would look at me funny if I say. Now, I don't really give a shit about that either. But, you know, I'm just saying, you know, there are rooms that you can step into easier than I can.
Yeah.
You know, and there's conversations that you can have easier than I can.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth.
But it's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, it's the world we live in at this time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is so incredible that you have decided to do that work as well. Because to be honest with you, if you think about it, that's an energetic work too.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it requires the shifts.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is with this healing work, if we could apply DNA activation only to anti-racist work and healing, the powerful shift that would be amazing, because it heals ancestrally. And like, I know, so I've been doing lots of work, and I have this really interesting ancestral lineage myself, where I have the Romani side, which is the most oppressed population in Europe currently. And I also have French Canadian and British, who are the oppressors. And I feel like I'm one of my things, like something I have to do is work through both sides. I have reparations and amends to make for part of my lineage, and the other part is standing up and fighting back and speaking up. And together, there's a lot of healing involved in that.
Yes.
It's not easy, but it has to happen. And
yes,
the spiritual space is so toxic, and there's so much racism, and
yes,
and there's so much appropriation. It's disgusting, frankly. And we need more white people to stand up and say enough is enough and do this healing work. Because I think this healing work forces you to go through it more and more, and you can't look away. We were talking about this earlier, even with my own shit, with Reiki. That's something that I've been working through and making amends with, and doing reparations of my own, because I recognize the privilege in me being able to just open up a Reiki business and do that, but not being connected to it properly.
Yes.
So it's hard. But again, it's necessary, and probably every white person in this space has some reparations to do, if we're being completely honest. So,
and to be able to just articulate that, I mean, that's phenomenal to me. When you know, as a person of color, I think about like that. It's phenomenal for white people to actually own that and actually realize that, yes, this shit was wrong, and it still is wrong. You know, it's like, you know, people don't realize that the systemic racism is just so awful. It's like what you expect, you know, and it makes no sense, and it's horrible. And, you know, and I tell people, I said, it's not being called a nigga, or like I was called before many times, a black bitch. It's not that. It's the other stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's you don't know if your son is going to come home, you know, driving a car.
Yeah.
These kind of things. I mean, you don't know if somebody's going to beat him just because, you know, he's black, not because he did anything, you know, not because, you know, just because he looks like Johnny from the hood.
Yeah.
You know, and I used to tell people that all the time. I say, I had a black boy. I said, and he was raised in the suburbs, so he don't know nothing about the damn hood. You know, I mean, that's just, he just don't, because he wasn't raised there. He doesn't know. He has multicultural friends. Truth be told, he prefers white girls. So, so what? So even though he looks like he looks, if he went to the wrong place, or if the wrong officer pulled him over,
Yeah.
then I got to bury my child because of that.
Yeah.
This is the world that we live in. And it's amazing that you have chosen to do this type of work in addition to the healing work, because to be honest, all of it is healing work.
Yeah.
It's all healing work. And I'm super grateful, and I'm super excited that you have chosen to come on my platform and even talk about that.
I appreciate you
trying to get there.
You having me and wanting that too.
Of course.
I know it's like that fear of yours. That's not something I'll ever experience. Not that way.
No,
and
because you don't know. There's no way that you could.
No.
And it's funny, we talk about that. I talk about that with my white girlfriends. I say, you don't know. You have no idea.
Yeah.
I said, what it feels like to sit your 15-year-old down and say, this is what you do when you get stopped, not if.
Yeah.
Not possibly. This is what you do when you get stopped, because you're going to get stopped. Because I have a nice truck. You drive it. We live in the suburbs out here. They don't really want our asses out here anyway. I said, but we live in the suburbs in South Carolina. So make sure you put your hand on the wheel. Don't get shit. Don't move. Be respectful. These are the conversations that we have had to keep our boys safe. And not only our boys, hell, our girls too.
Yeah.
But to keep our kids safe, and to make sure that they live to see another day, as the water boy says.
Yeah.
So just having these conversations and bringing in the healing that is required. My mom said something about DNA activation because I did hers.
Oh, that's beautiful.
She said, everybody should get this. Why isn't everybody getting this? I said, I don't know. I said, I guess they don't think they need it. She said, everybody needs to get this. She said, I literally felt you in my energy. I was like, wow, and that did something to me, just because, I'm like you, I love that work.
Yeah.
Because it is so transformative. And I've seen so many people have such shifts. I had one lady, I think the first one I did, she actually quit her job she'd had for 20 something years because she wanted to be a healer.
Good for her.
And after she got her DNA activated, that's what she did.
That's amazing.
That's what I said. I was like, wow. So yeah.
That is
so that was that was something, and I was like, wow. And the thing is she wasn't somebody that I knew, like in the online space.
Yeah.
Like I didn't go in the same circles. She just saw me talk about it one day in a group. I was doing it was a 24-hour, one of those things where they do 24 hours of lives or something.
Okay.
Group. So I did a 24 hours of live in a group, and I talked about it. I had just gotten certified. I talked about it, and I was talking about how amazing it was, and how, I felt when I had mine, and how my husband felt when I did his for the, the course. And she clicked the link and bought the thing.
That's amazing. That's divine. I mean, that's,
yes.
You guys were divinely brought together.
It really was. It really was. And I was like, wow. And so when she messaged me and told me what she didn't even message me. She did a post.
Wow.
And she was talking about how, she felt so much better. And she, she was gonna quit that soul sucking thing she did. That's what she said.
That's awesome.
She was like, I always wanted to be a healer and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow, this is amazing, So yeah, so I believe that this DNA activation, I believe it's a revolution.
I completely agree. It heals so much more than the individual. It's that ripple effect.
Yes.
That's so powerful. And it's I say it's quantum healing, because it's not just the physical body, it's our energetic body. So it's our energetic body that is going to come back time and time again if it chooses to. It's our energetic body in past lives that are that's being healed, and linear lives, because time is, or not linear, adjacent lives, I call it, because time isn't linear. And so that the healing, and then that, like I say, the ancestral healing, the future generational healing, it's, if I had to quit and only pick one thing that I could ever do within my business, DNA activation is what I would keep. If I had to give up everything else, DNA activation is what I would keep.
So that was a question I was going to ask you. Okay, see, we're on point. That was my question. I was going to ask you that. So you've gotten that. Okay, so then.
I'm passionate about everything, but it's just, there's something special about DNA activation that I truly, there will, like, there's not enough practitioners. There's not enough people who've had it done. Like, it's just, it's like tip of the iceberg and a drop in the bucket.
Yes,
and
I agree.
What we've seen from just that drop is pretty fucking incredible. So as that begins to expand, this like this planet and our universe is like on hyper speed healing. It'll be beautiful.
I agree totally. I totally agree.
And so this is the time we need it. More than anything, we need it now.
More than anything. You're so right. So if you had to speak to somebody that was in a space that you were in, what would you say to them?
I would say I'd first want to give them a big hug, even just an energetic hug. Yes. I would look them in the eye and I would say, I see you. You are loved. You're worthy of love. You're worthy of your own love. You're worthy of healing. You're not broken. You're not garbage. You're not meant to be discarded. You have a purpose and you're meant to be here and you're meant to be happy and you're meant to thrive. And it's time to let go and release. It's about acceptance to move forward and letting go what no longer serves, what's energetically draining you, so you can move forward fully empowered with all of your chakras aligned and just ready to take on the world. And when you're fully empowered and fully in alignment, you are unstoppable. You're bulletproof. Nothing can fuck with you. Even when our egos take over a bit, because they will, because we're human, you bounce back so much faster because of the self-awareness. And you're worthy of feeling that and going through that and getting there.
That is so powerful. That is so powerful. All right, as we close out, Chelsea, let the people know where they can connect with you.
So the best place right now is on Facebook under Chelsea Meyers. I use my public platform for everything. That's where you'll see my mystic work, my personal stuff, as well as my anti-racist work, which is a lot of sharing and uplifting because we don't need another white voice. But I'd rather just share and uplift things. And there's a lot of Canadian content, which I think a lot of people aren't used to seeing. A lot of people don't realize that Canada is not perfect, and Canadians like to put themselves on this high horse and look down at America with disgust. Like it's we're no better. But I think it's time people start to see it for what it is, because we like to keep things curtained and not talked about. So there's always stuff to learn. And then my my Instagram page is Intuitive Chelsea. And I have a Facebook group, which is Sacred Spiritual Expansion. And those are my three main places right now. But Facebook is definitely where I'm most active and where I've developed most community with my favorite people. So yeah.
Awesome. All right, my dear. So thank you so much for joining me. It's just been a pleasure. I have enjoyed this. Let me do what's her name? I've enjoyed this interaction immensely. A little bit of Abraham Hicks. So it's been fun. Definitely make sure that you are checking Chelsea out on Facebook as well as Instagram. Where else did you say where? That was it?
Those are the two places.
So
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram. Her details will also be in the link of the video as well as the audio on Anchor, Spotify, Radio Breakers, Google, Apple Podcasts. It's going to be in all those places. So you'll be able to see and connect with her where you can if you would like to get any of the wonderful services that she has or become a part of her group program. I would advise you to connect with her and contact her, slide into her DMs if you like. So I'm super grateful that she's decided to join me here on Straight Outta Savannah Talking with Tammi. And I'm glad that you decided to take a chance and listen or watch us on Straight Outta Savannah Talking with Tammi. And if you have a message or you are changing the planet and you would like to come on my show, just make sure you send a message to me because my information will also be in the description of the video or audio. So again, thank you so much for joining me and watching. Chelsea, I love you so much and I appreciate you for coming on. We had some hiccups a few times, but you know what? I told her divine timing. Yes. Everything in divine timing. So this actually was perfect timing. It was an amazing conversation. I hope that you all have enjoyed it as much as we have. So again, thank you for watching or listening. And we're signing off. Bye now.
Bye.
I know you've been blown away with the amazing value here today. Now go out and inspire the planet. And be sure to send us a message when you're ready to come talk about it on Straight Outta Savannah, Talking with Tammi.